Hello, and welcome to the show because you are now tuned into a brand spanking new Monday Night Live. That's right. AKA the Hangout Stream, AKA the Chill Stream, baby. All fired up, ready to have some fun for June 19th, 2023, and brought to you by yours truly, the man, broadcasting from behind the curtain. You know who I am. Because if you don't know by now, you can visit www.livefreeliverich.com. That's right. Or simply Google this name and you can find out. How you doing? You guys have a good week? What's going on? Hey, Rachel. Welcome. So we got lined up for tonight. Reading time is reserved for whom the bell tolls. That's right. I ask, what would you be willing to sacrifice during tonight's special announcement? And we'll be checking out a potentially cursed artifact during our featured media segment. Then following that up with a problematic hot topic. We'll also see what people are saying about indie books during tonight's Reader's Review. It's a brand new segment. And excuse me for one moment. I don't know why I forgot this before the show, but I'm feeling a little bit naked. Right now. I'll be right back. There we go. That's much better. All right. Let's get into the first segment, shall we? Before we get into all that tonight, you already know what we got to do. First things first, we got to take this time and slide right inside my first segment of the night, where I like to shine a spotlight on some books. That's right. That are currently available or coming soon to an online store near you. Yes, it's true. From the Twitter, we have from K.A. Mulenga. Says, my daughter's favorite animal. I just had to write a book about one. Harry the Honest Horse is a clever and insightful way to teach young readers the importance of being honest. Young readers, yes. Perhaps some adults too. Let's check out Harry the Honest Horse by K.A. Mulenga. Because kids need entertainment too, right? All right, let's check it out. This is, actually says on the cover there, so Harry the Honest Horse by Kalenga A. Mulenga. Kind of rolls off the tongue there. Harry the Honest Horse seems to have it all. He lives in a beautiful place, is good looking, and his cheerful nature means he is loved by every one of his many friends. Harry's life is simple, joyful, and trouble-free. Well, most of the time, anyway. Harry's best friend, Hank, has a bad habit of getting up to no good. He is a terrible prankster, always thinking up new ways to play jokes on others. Now, although Hank is great fun to be around, Harry notices that sometimes his pranks go too far, and instead of causing laughter, they cause hurt. The worst part about Hank's pranks for Harry is that Hank also tells great big fibs to get himself out of trouble. Because Harry spends so much time with Hank, he finds himself getting involved in Hank's pranks. He knows that what Hank is doing is wrong, but he doesn't know what to do about it. When he tries talking to Hank about what he believes, his advice falls on deaf ears. Not only does Hank not seem to take life seriously at all, but he also doesn't seem to understand that what he sees as harmless fun is no fun at all for others. Oh, and then there's the fibbing part. It's quite a long blurb here for this, what seems like a straightforward children's book. Harry is at a loss. There's quite a bit of nuance here between these two. Harry is at a loss of what to do and asks his father for help. His dad gives him some valuable advice on how to handle his wayward friend. The next time Hank does something naughty, Harry does something he's never done before. Instead of keeping quiet and just wishing his friend could change his wicked ways, he finds his voice and speaks up. What will happen next? Will Hank still want to be Harry's friend? Will he ever learn the difference between harmless fun and harmful pranks? And most importantly, will he ever start telling the truth? Read on to find out. Most of us have the, quote, fun friend who regularly gets us into trouble, right? Harry the Honest Horse is a delightful story which addresses important concepts such as not letting a joke go too far and the value of being a champion for the truth, no matter how hard it may be sometimes. The fun-loving friends in this story are relatable to young readers who will no doubt empathize with Harry when faced with the difficult decision of keeping his loyalty to a good friend versus standing up for what he knows is right. An all-around happy ending confirms to the young reader that honesty is always the best policy. Target age range 3 to 8 years. 28 pages on that one. Children's multi-generational families, children's parents books. Farm animal books. Harry the Honest Horse. Of course, all these books in this first segment are books that are suggested to me directly by the publishers themselves, whether these could be self-published authors, come from independent labels, or small press companies. Let's see what we have up next. Never know what I'm going to get. It's fun to make these little discoveries here. Lucas Monroe writes, my story of the frustration of battling racism and sabotage while trying to reach my dreams in the New York radio business. Ah. This is New York Newsrooms by Lucas Monroe. Author Lucas Monroe tells the story of James Santana, a misfit news radio producer in a world where the devious succeed and bring others like them up the chain of prestige. Oh, maybe Hank might relate with the Santana there. After 20 years of toiling through the rigors of the daily backstabbing and confusion of the radio business, he does what was thought to be impossible. He brought WONS to the top of the news radio ratings heap over longtime rival WIES, who had dominated them for 50 years. Oh, the boomers. You're listening to WIES. B-Rock, Boomer Rock. Over 50 years of rock and roll. He did it despite the constant undercutting and sabotaging of his morning writer, Lorna Magnus, who tried to take full credit of his success by telling the news director, Tom O'Malley, that it was her idea, not James, who brought this newfound success to their longtime underdog radio station. Things changed dramatically when hotshot newbie Joseph Smart joins WONS with his own ambitions that threatened the position of both James and Lorna, and the battle for who's number one in the newsroom takes shape. Author Lucas Monroe tells this roller coaster story from the perspective of several narrators in 3 different newsrooms with delicious dark humor. 158 pages. Horror? What the hell? I did not get horror out of that at all. I think that might be miscategorized. Horror literature and fiction, it's categorized under. Huh. All right, one more for tonight. One more book for tonight. Let's check it out. We have from Twitter, the Winslow Swan author. That's right. That Winslow Swan, the Winslow Swan, co-producer of the Doorway to Nightmare show that you guys have probably heard me talk about quite a bit on this program before. He says, here is Bits and Pieces. Evil can grow from anything. Ah. Winslow has quite a few books published himself in various I think a variety of genre too. Let's check out Bits and Pieces. I think this is the first one of his books that I've mentioned on the show. Let's see what he has for us. Let me see what we have here. A free, all-expense paid trip to an exclusive mountain retreat turns into a nightmare for 6 random people. A wrong turn down a dirt road leads them to the very doorway to hell. Cash's Valley had seen its share of horrors, and it was only the beginning. Who is the old man that resides in the mansion in the middle of nowhere? What evil dwells within the ancient walls? From the creator of The Convincer. Do not read this book, and Evil Within comes a nightmarish journey into the unknown. 109 pages of horror and suspense thrillers. I will say that I did get actual horror from that blurb. I was getting a horror vibe from that blurb. Well done. Well done. Now, those are the books for this week, ladies and gentlemen. You can tell me what you think. You can head on over to the community tab if you're watching this on the replay, which most of you most likely are, and you can cast your vote for which one out of those 3 books you thought had the most text appeal. That's right. In other words, which one out of those 3 books would you be most likely to pick? And if you'd like to discover more from the independent market, you know where you can go. You can head on over to my playlist tab or my shorts tab and open yourself up some mystery packs. Inside each mystery pack, there's a cover card that reveals a book from the independent market that was recognized by the Live Free, Live Rich Network. And inside the description section of each video, there is a link that will take you to an editorial written on that book by yours truly. All right, let's keep it trucking right along here, right into the new segment, the next segment, which is a new segment called The Reader's Review. That's right. The Reader's Review. This is where I am going to be reading reviews from readers who are choosing to give independent literature a chance. Okay, I want to highlight the readers, you readers out there who are choosing to reach into your wallet, purchase these indie books, not only purchase these indie books, but actually read them. Read them and then take it a step further and leave a written review on them. So these are all short form reviews that I would read during this segment. So this could be a review that's as simple as a social media post, or this could be like a Goodreads. Think like a Goodreads, something like that. Or it could be like tonight and come directly from Amazon. That's what I have tonight. I'm going to be reading Aaron Arm's 3-star review of the Intergalactic Information Superhighway, written by Christopher Magnus. This comes via Amazon. I think I've read a review on one review on this book so far, but this is a different one. This one is 3-star review. So let's see what this reader has to say. Because here's the thing. I'm going to be coming out with a new presentation pretty soon on specifically on reviews. And no two reviews are the same. No two reviews are made equal, that's for sure. Let's see what he has to say. This is Aaron Arm's review. It says, I think this book can be fairly divisive, depending on what you're looking for. The characters are lively and the dialogue is quippy. There's plenty of action and adventure, which keeps the story moving. The protagonist has a clear motivation, and his journey is established right from the get-go. It feels like an homage to new wave sci-fi, an adventure-filled romp across the stars, complete with humanoid aliens, fantastical technology, and thinly veiled analogs of earthen culture / concepts. In short, it's fun. So it says fantastical technology here. So perhaps not a hard sci-fi in that sense. But what can make this story fun for some might simultaneously be a drawback for others. The story reads like a rush from one scene or setting to another. It moves the plot along, but few moments have an opportunity to breathe. Exposition is given matter-of-factly by the narrator. When a moment does get extra attention, it's usually surface-level descriptions of visuals. Ultimately, it feels like something that would translate well to the screen, perhaps a serialized show. But for a novel, I was hoping for something a little more introspective. So say exposition, there's exposition. So we're talking maybe a little bit less on the imagery here. Is that, I wonder if that's kind of what I'm getting. That's kind of what I'm getting out of that, if I'm to be honest. If you're talking about, if you're making it a point to kind of shine a light on the exposition itself. But then here's the thing though, but then you also turn around and you say, okay, so you do say when a moment does get extra attention. Okay, so when a moment does get extra attention, it's usually just surface level descriptions of the visuals. Okay, all right. So basically more or less saying weak on the imagery. The writing itself is not bad. The dialogue is engaging and most scenes are set up nicely. However, this could afford another pass by an editor to remove typos, awkward syntax, and perhaps some uncomfortable situations. Uncomfortable situations. Has in parentheses here, such as the Jamaican coded alien named Tyrone. Amen. Why would you want to remove that? That sounds pretty cool. Amen. Maybe he's just chill. He's a chill alien, you know. He's got some dreads. Wants to light up some ganja. You know, listens to some Marley. All in all, if someone's looking for a fast-paced, high-tech space adventure with colorful characters, colorful characters, really? Did you want to think about that before you slap that in there? This might satisfy. Perhaps I wasn't adequately strapped in for this ride. I enjoyed that. That was a fun review. That is the reader's review. So you readers out there, this is to highlight you guys. This isn't about gassing up the authors and blowing smoke up their ass and yada, yada, yada. It's all about, you know, how awesome their work is and this and that. No, like if you want to share a 1-star review with me, please go right ahead. If you're like, listen, guys, I got to warn you, this book really sucks. And here are the reasons why. Don't just say, you know, you share a review with me and it just says this book sucks. No, you actually do. You know, I'm gonna make fun of you at that point. If you come on here, you share a review with me and it's literally this book sucks, and I just want to warn you guys that this book sucks. I'm gonna make fun of you, Poindexter. All right, you actually have to use logic and reason to explain why said book sucks. All right. But anyways, this is about highlighting the readers. I want to highlight you guys that are out there. The point of this is to say, okay, there are people out there. Why should you give a crap about indie? Well, I'll give you a reason to give a crap about indie because I want to give a crap about you guys. I give a crap about who's out here actually paying attention to indie. Okay. Is that you? Are you actually paying attention to indie? Are you getting involved? You know, people might scratch their head and say, well, why am I getting involved in indie? You know, what's the point? No one cares about this stuff. You know what I'm saying? I care. Okay. I do care. So if you're one of those people that are out there and you're contributing to the scene in a meaningful way by actually buying the books, actually reading the books, and actually writing up reviews for these books, even though it may seem as though nobody else cares, well, here is an opportunity for you to be seen. Here's an opportunity for you to be heard. Here's an opportunity for you to be recognized. Share a review with me. All right. And we can talk about these books. And authors, you authors out there, if somebody has taken the time to read one of your books and write a review on one of your books, you know, just a short form review, and you just want to recognize them, you just want to highlight them, regardless if it's a positive review or negative review, you just say, hey, this is somebody that took the time to read my book, you know, even though, you know, however you may feel about it, it's irrelevant. You just saying, hey, look, this is somebody that took the time, and that's it. And I'll share this with John. You know, this might not be something that I myself feel comfortable. Like I'm saying, you know, as the author, you're saying, you know, this isn't something that I myself feel comfortable sharing on social media because this person is kind of shitting on my work. However, I do appreciate the fact that somebody took the time to read the work, even if maybe they didn't get it. Some things went over their head. Who cares? It's just the fact that they read my work and they took the time to leave a review. It's not something that I want to share on my social media, but hey, I'll share it with John. Maybe he'll get a kick out of it. You know, that's what I'm here for as far as that goes with this segment. I'll be a mediator. I'll be the middleman. Okay. I'll be like, hey, look, we don't need authors and readers spaces. We don't have to have readers hounding authors. You can have some middlemen in here, some mediators, if you will, to kind of say, all right, guys, all right, break it up. Let's check this out here. Let's hash this out. Because if I think the reader's full of shit, I'll call them out. Okay. But then the author doesn't have to be in that uncomfortable position where they're like, well, what do I do here? I kind of want to recognize this person and thank them for taking the time to read my book, but at the same time, they're kind of shitting on my work a little bit, and I almost want to say, fuck you. So I'll be that guy. I'm willing to be that guy. I'm neutral. I'll be neutral. Okay. It'll be fun. Let's make it fun. So that's what the readers review. All right. Let's keep it moving. Yes, welcome. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Always glad to see you. I was glad to see you. Appreciate you. I'll hit you with the air horn. All right, we'll keep it moving right along. We'll get into some announcements. Those of you, if you're trickling in, if you're lurking, feel free to say hi. I ain't gonna bite your head off. You can say hi. I just like to, it's no big deal. I just like to see who took the time to stop by. Like I always say, there's no need to be shy. I see some people trickling in here. Feel free to let me know what you've been working on. You work on anything? A whole week has gone by, you guys. Come on. I know you guys are creatives. You must be working on something, doing something during the week. Tell me a funny anecdote if you want to. You don't need, it doesn't have to be necessarily a project you're working on. Something funny happened to you during the week. You want to tell me about it? Something fun happened. Did you go to any concerts or something? What was the concerts going on? Well, all the girly bops. What was that concert that went down with all the girly bops going to I forget whatever the hell they listen to. You know who I'm talking about. All right, we're going to get in some announcements now. We're getting some announcements. What would you sacrifice? What would you be willing to sacrifice? That's the question I ask, and that is the question that Doorway to Nightmare asks in their most recent episode. They're on season 7, episode 6 of this audio production. It's an audio drama, okay? Mystery, thriller, sometimes horror, sometimes dark comedy. But it's an anthology series run by Winslow Swan, who is the author that I talked about in the first segment, that last book there, that Winslow Swan, and edited by his friend Crimson Mackenzie. Had him on the show before. They're good people. It's a little passion project of theirs that kind of turned it into a thing. 7 seasons deep now. So suffice to say, they are pretty passionate about this work, and it's been fun for me as well. They gave me a shot. They gave me a chance. Allowed me to gave me a shot to come on board here and kind of practice my voice acting. I've never really done any voice acting before or played a role in any voice acting projects. So this is a first for me, as far as publicly. I've always played around with different voices and stuff like that, just joking around type of deal. But I've never actually done anything a creative project where I was doing like voice acting. So this has been pretty fun for me, and kind of like just a different kind of outlet for me to kind of exercise my imagination, if you will. If you guys are interested in getting your work featured on the show, whether it be in the first segment, you can share your books with me. You can share all kinds of different things with me. Just go ahead, do yourself a favor, and just join one of our group servers. The links to those group servers are always in the show notes down below. And you can join the Gilded, you can join the Discord, you can join them both if you want. I don't care which one you join. I don't have any qualms about whether it's Gilded or it's Discord. I just know what I use them for, and I use them to collect links. And I can check in and see what you guys are working on, because what I want it for is just a resource. You guys can check in whenever you have something that you're working on. Just go on there and just share links with me. There's all these different channels where you can share links. Anything you share in those channels, I consider that you giving me permission to turn around and take that stuff and bring it onto the show. And I talk about it. You know, I just simply talk about it, whether it be not just creatively, but also for like readers, people who are involved in the indie scene. Like, for instance, I do have the channels on there where you can share links to like your reviews. So you could do that. But you can also share, like, if you do book clubs or like one-time kind of reading events. Like if you're doing a reading event, I would really think that would be a great kind of a collaborative, not an official partnership, but more of like an affiliation, if you will. Think about it. How can you leverage this? Because at the end of the day, that's kind of what I want. It's like, you help me help you type of situation. From the get-go, that's what I've been talking about with this show. You help me help you, and try to come up with creative ways of how you can leverage this show. And we can kind of help each other in that way. So if you're a reader and you run a Booktube channel and you do reading events, you host reading events, or you do like Facebook groups and you run book clubs and you have regular updates where you're saying, okay, guys, the book of the month for this month that we're reading is blah, 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 blah. And then you can share that information with me. And I am more than willing to share that announcement during a live stream. That's what I'm talking about. Like, give me stuff to talk about. I can talk about this and say, hey, guys, there's a place where I can direct you to where there's a sci-fi book club, an indie sci-fi book club. There's an indie horror book club. There's an indie, or just indie books in general. Whatever your book club is, it can have a theme. That's a cool thing about book clubs. I'm going to be making a video about book clubs at some point. I don't know when, but it's on my docket. I have a bunch of different video ideas that I have that I'll be producing like special presentations for. That just happens to be one of them. I'll get around to it at some point. But that's the cool thing about book clubs, is you can have different themes with your book club. So that's why it could be advantageous to be a part of multiple different book clubs, because the book clubs, each individual book club can have different themes, and there can be different events that can be scheduled throughout the month. So you say, guys, we're reading this book, and then we're going to be having, and then in the following month, we're going to be doing the discussion video or the discussion stream, because we can do live streaming events now. So we're going to have a discussion stream on that book at this date, and you can tune in this date. So it's like all these different events that can have lined up month after month after month after month. My role in this is, okay, I'm sharing the news, so it looks like everybody is a part of this tight-knit, well, not necessarily tight-knit, but at least affiliated in, and it gives this air of like there's this community, this larger community within the underground scene. It's not necessarily we're all partnered together, but we're just collaborating in different ways. We're sharing news of what's going on. But I require you guys to share it with me, though. You know, I know I'm standing on my soapbox right now, but I've been doing this for over a year now, and it seems like, you know, it's slow rolling a little bit in terms of the message. It seems like people getting the message. Maybe it's just me. Maybe people just don't click with me, and that's fine. I know my personality is a bit bombastic at times, but that's just how I am. Flying by the seat of my pants, baby. That's how I do things. But hey, you know, I want to be a part of this, though. That's the thing. I'm doing this for the engagement. And the only way I'm going to be able to continue doing this show is if, you know, people show me that that's what they want. And that's by you interacting. If there's no interaction, there's no engagement, there's no show, because that means I don't have permission to talk about whatever it is that you guys have going on. I see what some of you guys have going on. And yeah, I have my own personal interests as far as that goes. And there are people's projects that I'm personally interested in. But that's not what this show is about. This show isn't about my personal interests. This show is about just raising awareness for all the various different types of projects that are within the underground scene, regardless if it's something that I would be personally interested in. But the only stipulation is you have to come to me in terms of interaction. Like I want the engagement. I want to encourage people to become engaged within the underground scene, encourage people to come out of their shell and interact with people, and just interact with people. Stand behind your product. Stand up for your own work. Speak for your, if you're willing to say, hey, this is what I'm working on, then I'll say, okay. And then I'll bring it up during a stream, you know, and spread the word in that way. It doesn't automatically mean I endorse these projects that I talk about during the shows. And I make that perfectly clear. I'm simply just raising awareness for them. This isn't me endorsing each and every single product or project that I cover on the stream. But I do want to endorse and promote proactivity. That's what I want to promote. I want to promote proactivity. I don't want, you know, the indie scene is vast. I'm not going to sit here and talk about projects. I'm not going to pick and choose projects, you know, from, you know, people who are slouches, people who are sitting on their hands, people who don't dare to stand up and speak and interact with people. You know, there's plenty of people out here in the indie scene. If you're one of those, in other words, if you're one of those people that's just like, you just like, oh, my work is so awesome. My work is awesome. And it's just going to speak for itself. And I can just, once I hit publish, I can just kick back, sit back, relax. And other people are just going to just naturally, organically discover my greatness. No, that's not how this works. I'm afraid to, I hate to burst people's bubble. I hate to like be that guy to keep it real, but that's literally not how this works. Like you could have a great book. It could be great. But if you're not actively out here talking about it, participating on people's podcasts, getting involved in people's streams, stepping up and standing behind your work, then, you know, how can anyone know how good your work is? You know what I mean? I hate being that guy, but, you know, it's like, it's just one of those things. And I'm not seeing the interaction. I'm not seeing the engagement. And, you know, it's just one of those things. I just got to keep reminding, keep on repeating it. Keep on repeating it. Speaking of opportunities, the Storyteller Society is still accepting open submissions. Open submissions means anyone is able to submit. Anyone within any writer, any of you writers out there, you don't have to be published. You don't have to be trad pub. You don't even have to have any self-published work out on the market. You could just be an aspiring author. If you have yet, if you're an aspiring author and you would just like to shoot your shot, try your hand at this. This is a public collaborative project that I launched on the eve of 2022. So what I'm looking for here is flash fiction. Flash fiction for this project is fiction between 500 all the way up. I gave quite a bit of leeway here. Flash fiction is 500 to all the way up to 2,000 words for this particular project. Okay. And just because you submit something doesn't automatically mean you're going to be approved. But if you're approved, then you will effectively book yourself a room at the Hotel del SS, where all the members of the Storyteller Society stay. And then at that point, your job is done. You can have links to your author pages or anything like that. This is not a commercial project. This is not an anthology project. The way that I market this, it doesn't matter what genre your writing is. This is just something that I run directly through my blog. So it's just a piece of fiction. It's a non-exclusive deal. This could be something that you have published elsewhere, so long as you own the copyright and you can grant me permission to republish it on my blog. And then this is something that I continue to market each and every single week. And you're also free to contribute multiple times if you'd like. Doesn't mean I will automatically approve each and every single contribution. I'm looking for particular pieces of work that I would like to market through my own blog, because first and foremost, this is my blog here that your work is representing or representative of. I'm simultaneously representing your work through my blog, but it's also a representative of my blog as well, because I'm the one who's approving the work. So really, I would say if you're going to submit to this, I have the drop-down menu where you can kind of categorize like what category you think your work would fall into, which would help me out in determining, what it is that I'm reading, or, the way in which the work is meant to be interpreted, I guess, or intended. Because I know that with short form fiction, it can be difficult. It's not like a novel. A novel, it can be easy to tell what the genre is. But, when it comes to short form fiction, it's very condensed. So you're packing in a lot in a short format. So sometimes it can be difficult to kind of categorize what the work is. So that's to help me out. And I would say to help you guys out, if you're going to submit to this, I would say, pick the category, obviously, but also basically to give you an inside info of kind of what I'm looking for here. It doesn't have to be complex. You don't have to, this isn't the time where you have to like wow me with some crazy like symbolism or anything like that. Just keep it simple. What I'm looking for this project, because think about it, this is free. You have to keep in mind that this is free for public viewing. Okay, so it doesn't have to be anything extremely spectacular. Okay, this is just a means of think of it as a means of kind of generating traffic. So generating traffic for both the website and for wherever you want, you would like that traffic to go, whether it be your Amazon author page, you got your own website that you'd like a backlink to, whatever it may be. Okay. So I would suggest just keep it simple plot, a character or a clearly defined character motivation, and maybe sprinkle in a little bit of characterization. Nothing too complex, but just, a simple plot or simple motivation and a little bit of characterization. And that's it, in a clear beginning, middle, end. Last but not least, Here we go. Live Free, Live Rich Weekly, the weekly newsletter. Once a week, every Saturday, I send out a newsletter which will give you all the pertinent links of what's going on across the entire brand, whether it be Live Free, Live Rich Entertainment, Live Free, Live Rich Network, the whole Live Free, Live Rich brand. You can go to www.livefreeliverich.com right on the homepage. Bada boom, bada bing. I need an email. And if you care to share your first name, you can if you want. You don't have to. I just need an email. And you, once a week, every Saturday, you will get the newsletter. The newsletter that will have all the pertinent links that will keep you on the up and up with what I'm working on and what's going on with the brand. I'm thinking about doing some with this. I'm thinking about doing like some special giveaways, exclusives, things like that. Kind of spice things up a little bit, make it interesting for you guys who do subscribe to the newsletter, just kind of like a thank you, for keeping up with what I got going on and being interested in that. That's all the announcements. You got some news to share with me? Share some news. Like I said before, you're running a book club. You got some crowdfunded stuff going on. What do you got going on? What's going on in your world? You can share it with me. If you want to share your news with me, what you can do is you can share your news and then you can go back to doing whatever you do. You being creative? Okay, that's more time for you to just be creative. There you go. You want to cool off on the social media stuff. You say, I'm taking a break. I'm taking a break from Twitter. I can't handle the social media drama. I got to take a break. If that's you, hey, look, more power to you. You don't like social media? Hey, I don't blame you. It can be cringe out there. I have to say, people love the drama. Tea time. You know what I mean? So if that's you and you want to take a break, you just share the news with me. You want to just share the news with me. I'll try to fit it into a show however I can. All right. Even if that means if you want to come on to the show, you're cool with social media. You're comfortable with social media. You want to be a guest on this show? Hey, the door is open. Okay. That's all you got to do is reach out to me and we'll see what we can do. We'll see maybe if I can make some time for you. I'll make a spot for you. I'm not saying that that's something right now that I'm willing to do for everyone. I'll say that right now. I always have final say. I have to run the show a certain way. When I first started this, I was thinking, oh, this is going to be great. This is going to be fun. This is going to be for everyone, right? But then I quickly realized, no, I realized that a lot of, let's just say a lot of problems or conflicts could possibly arise if I'm not, paying attention to what I'm doing or if I'm not, taking things into consideration. Let's just leave it at that. All right. But like I say, when in doubt, don't think, just share the link. I'll never make you feel bad for sharing links. You share a link with me. There you go. That's all you got to do. You don't even have to write me a love letter or anything like that. You don't even have to butter me up or anything like that. Just share your link with me. Share a link with me. If you share your links, don't think, just share your link. And if I think that it's something that I can fit into a show, then I'll do so. That's my job. That's my job as the producer, to plan these shows out. What fits, what works, what doesn't. Let's move on to some reading time. It's from Twitch. What is this? From Twitch. Suzuka Yamamoto says hello from Kyoto, Japan. Wow. Greetings. How are you? Welcome. All right. reading time. I have from the Discord, speaking of the group chat, the bell tolls. This is the bell tolls for March 2nd, 2023. I'm assuming this is just kind of a blog post update from D.A. Bell. D.A. Bell has been very patient, or been, or actually not, maybe not so patient, actually. I think D.A. Bell's actually quite the contrary. I think D.A. Bell's been anxiously awaiting me to get to some of his reading time material. As you can see, this one dates all the way back to March. That's how far out the queue was. I am getting caught up on the queue, but I only read like one piece per episode, though. I don't want to bog myself down. You know, it makes it easier when I do that. When I'm doing like the highlight clips. If I just, because I have it down to the segments, right? That's why I do segments. When you plan out segments and your show has some structure, then it makes it so much easier to do highlight clips, because you know, okay, each segment, I'm going to clip something out from each segment, and then boom, 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 line them up, got them all in order, and I try to take a little highlight clip from each segment. I want to each and every single time. For those of you who don't know, when I do these shows, I'll do these highlight clips to kind of do a promo for the show itself. However, when I'm doing a promo for the show, I'm actually simultaneously showing off all the work that I was talking about during that show. So it's like a multi-layered type of deal. So all of you who have the pleasure or have the opportunity, I should say, to have your work mentioned during the show, you then have that extra advertising after the fact when I do my show promos. And I do those 3 times a week on Twitter. But I also do it on Facebook and other platforms, what have you. However, I'll say right now that you guys, those of you who may be new to this, you don't know, but you're welcome to download these streams. I keep these streams up because then it's more valuable for those people who were mentioned during the shows. So if you're like me and you keep a record of all the different podcasts and whatnot that you participate in, then these streams are up here for your record. You can always link back to these streams through your blogs, wherever you might want to document that. But you're also welcome to just go ahead and download these shows if you want. You can download these shows. You can edit these shows if you want. You can make your own clips if you want and use them for your own marketing and advertising needs. Okay, however you want to use them. You have my permission. If you want to mention me by name, if you want to link my website, then obviously that would be greatly appreciated. Let's check out, see what kind of updates DA has for us. See what kind of a post this is. This comes from Ko-Fi. You guys do Ko-Fi? I think I have a Ko-Fi, but I don't do anything with it. It's just like Substack, basically. It's basically just like Substack. It's a DA Bell. The bell tolls for March 2nd, 2023. It says, here's an on-the-fly idea where I'm going to give every first or the last of the month update on my Ko-Fi about my various activities and status of my current projects. So we have a status update. If you want to read my fiction work, and then it gives a link to the blog there. If you want to read my nonfiction, oh, you do a little nonfiction. Oh, yeah, I remember you were saying you were going to do some nonfiction as well. I thought you were going to write some articles for Hot Topic. Didn't you say something about that? Am I going to have to hold you accountable? Without further ado, my main projects are works I plan to publish first in my career. There will be an ongoing theme you'll notice throughout the MP section. This is because I have zero structure and a lot of stuff projects. Yeah, I tried at point to do it. Well, here I am now. This will also work. Giving a brief, far as I can remember, history on when it was created and why it's paused. So here's the main project status. Where's the darn key is paused. I lost this one. My dog ate it. Did the dog eat that one, DA? Why would you post your L? I lost this one and many other projects sometime back in 2020. I was mentally devastated, no doubt. At the time, this was the longest novel I had, so you could imagine how I felt. Yeah, that sucks, man. In December 2022, I discovered various backups in my Google Drive. Oh, there you go. Let me tell you, I was happy to download all of them. I'm still unable to work on it. Slowly but surely, the interest is growing. Well, that's cool, man. I see. You kind of gave me a little dipsy doodle there. I thought you were going in one direction, and then you took it in another. A little redemption arc, if you will. Athena and Odysseus. Athena and Odysseus paused on one of my more recent novels. Okay, lies. I created this way back in my late teen years. It was more a concept than anything. Over time, as I discovered urban fantasy, I changed the idea. Now it's more a romance between Athena and Odysseus. I say no more because spoilers. I got a bit burned on this story. Slowly but surely, I'll be working on it again. Sapirus, Taker, Son of Thunder, paused. I am noticing a reoccurring motif here, if you will, or just a motif in general. One of the stories I lost in 2020 alongside WTDK, my SD card, and I lost so much work. Then my laptop got wet. I didn't lose a lot of work, but it was a blow. Yeah, slowly but surely. Me and Sapirus has a long history together. Not only it's my first serious novel, created way back in 2011. It's the first serious novel I created after I devoured Percy Jackson. Oh, a little Percy Jackson fan, are you? I haven't read any of his books. I know it's doesn't Percy Jackson do like Greek mythology? Me against them. Indefinite pause. Indefinite pause. My second oldest and serious story. I created this after I read Rot and Ruin. Changed a lot over the years. It went from half-baked ideas to a mature story with half-baked ideas. It's my first mature story I recreated. Why is it on an indefinite pause? I don't know. I haven't touched this story in years. The last time in 2016 or 2017. Kill the Fireman. Paused. If you like superheroes, this novel is for you. Back in the mid or late 2010s, I created story titles. Kill the Fireman and Burn the Pages. I made KTF into a superhero novel I plan to let other writers work in if I ever make it big. BTP kind of fell wayside. Variant Affairs of Rebecca Banks. Procrastinating. One of my more recent stories, this 4-issue comic book expanded into a 100-issue spin-off and a 64-page one-shot that will neatly end the series. I'll get to it one day. I created this story back in 2022, late 2022. I don't know. I just thought up an interesting idea. Tavrik of Sarsum dabbled. I think I read some of it. Was that one of the ones that I read? I think I read a little snippet of that one. Another one of my mid-2010 creations. I was on a roll in the 2010s. Steampunk meets sword and sorcery. Why? Because that sounds awesome. Blood and sorcery. Paused. I don't know why I did this to myself. Another one of my mid to late 2010s projects. This one was probably 2019. I created it off the name Michael Douglas. I wanted a slasher name that sounds iconic as Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers. I did it. Then I turned on the TV and discovered the name was iconic. It belonged to a famous actor. Yeah, it's now a serialized urban fantasy. I might do a slasher film movie. Like you got a lot. Seems like you just got a lot. You're juggling. Well, you're not even juggling because everything is paused. Everything that's paused, I would not consider as juggling. I would consider that is something that you've shelved, an idea that you've shelved. That's what it seems like here. You're sharing a lot of your shelved ideas, which is fine. It sounds like maybe these are in like more of a brainstorming stage. But then again, some of them, it seems like you have worked on a little bit. Sometimes maybe, it's good because you have novels. One thing that I will say that I'm noticing as outsider looking into your activity here, if I was to have any kind of comment on it at all, I would just say that all these projects sound pretty big. These are novels, 60 plus page comic books. From what I've been learning from the comic book industry and comic books in general, a 60 plus page comic book is not a small production. That is quite a bit of work that goes into that. And you might need to bring on other people in order to get that project all the way done. It might not be something, I don't know you personally. I don't know. Maybe you are a great illustrator and maybe you can do lettering and maybe you do coloring. There's multiple layers that goes into a comic book production. It's not just the story itself. Even the panel work, setting up the panel work is a job in and of itself. How you're laying out the story, how you're delivering the story. It's a whole thing. So, if I am to I know you're not asking for advice, so, you can just take this with a grain of salt, but I'm just saying, looking at this, I just say, it sounds like you want to do something and you just haven't figured out what that thing is exactly. You got a lot of ideas. It sounds like you have some ideas, and it sounds like you have some pretty good ideas. But, the motivation, maybe not necessarily the gas to take you there, to see it all the way through, and having that gas, having enough motivation to drive that project all the way through to the end. It could take quite a bit of energy. And I understand that. Shit, why do you think I focus on short form fiction? I want to specialize in short stories. That's why I want to specialize in short story fiction. Because not to say that I don't have some novel ideas in my notebook, tucked away in my notebook, but I understand taking on a novel is a huge endeavor. You know, I know it's going to be a huge endeavor for me. So, I would say looking at this, you got a lot of projects that are paused, and it sounds like you want to be creative. It sounds like you have some good ideas, or at least some ideas that you could work with. I would just say, maybe why not try something shorter? Why not try to, write, just some shorts? And I know that you have contributed some stuff and you have published some stuff on your blog that we're going to be getting to. But I'm just saying, like, if you're feeling like you're in a slump and you're not feeling very motivated, maybe sometimes doing that, having like getting some quick victories, what I would call them, get some quick victories under your belt, whether it be doing some graphic design work for your website, writing some short fiction, or maybe creating some visual assets, whether it be illustrations or whatever it may be, a little something, working on something, but not just working on it, but finishing it. Seeing something all the way through to the end and say, today I'm going to set out and I'm going to create some new assets for my website. And I'm not going to stop until I'm done. And then boom, you've created a little something to kind of spruce up your website. Or you create some assets, like you create some ads for your work. Oh, I want to create some new ad graphics for my books. So whether it be, GIFs or GIFs, they're actually pronounced. Argue with me on that. Change my mind. It's pronounced GIF. But yeah, you could have, you want to create these little assets, for your brand in general. Maybe you don't have a brand. Maybe you want to develop a brand. Maybe you develop a brand for your works to kind of like house it, kind of act as like your portfolio, your universal portfolio, if you will, of all your work. Maybe do something like that. Because I never have this feeling of burnout. I'm almost like, that's almost kind of what I'm getting here. This is paused. That's paused. It almost sounds like you're burned out in a sense. But of course, this is months ago. So DA, feel free to chime in with an update as far as that goes. I know this is dated way back in March. So let's see, we're getting towards the end here. The Protector paused. I have a horrible history in losing my work. Some days ago, my nephew, while I was gone, played with my Samsung Chromebook 3. I was running Gallium OS. I came home, shrugged it off. I later learned the flash drive I used the last time didn't work. Long story short, I lost some work again. Thankfully, I emailed myself stuff. That's enough for my main projects. Next up, upcoming works. This should probably come before my main projects, but upcoming works. Jilted Her on Planet Pandora. A 3-part short story that will tell the story of Leo and how he got locked up after he jilted his longtime girlfriend. Publication date, end of March. All right. There's something. Potentially. The Errant One, working title. I'm making lots of progress on this story. It's in the first draft stage and much longer than I expected. Anyways, I can tell it's going to be longer than a short story. I am really into the story and want to explore it more. The Mountain of Nan. If I push myself, I can get this story out sometime in March, probably early April. For Emily, a 4-part short story series formerly called Yankee. Also a story about a woman who becomes a brief supervillain. The story is technically finished. I just changed the beginning. If I can finish it, finish editing it, then upload it on Critique Circle. What's that? I haven't heard of that one. I could publish it in late March too. The last hour of Earth. The whole thing is complete. I'm going through a rewrite to make it more exciting and emotional. Try for mid-April. Cal Babies, a two-parter. I'm nearly complete with the first draft. In Andre's Revolt. I'm just fleshing out the beginning. I could publish this late March, early April. Also, another multi-part short story. Don't ask why. I created so many. The bell has stopped tolling. Thanks for reading. All right. So if you like the sound of any of those titles, you can be sure to keep a lookout for those stories if you want. I would almost say skip that, DA. Outsider looking in, I would say almost just skip that. I mean, I guess if you have a fan base, if you have a reader base, then more power to you as far as that goes. Me personally, I don't do updates like that. I don't see the point in doing that because it's just like, what if nothing happens? It's just the fact of like, what if it never turns into anything? Then I'm just, talking. Then I'm just saying things. This is something that this is something that I might publish one day. I just don't feel like anyone, it's really that interesting. Tell me something that you're going to publish, like without a shred of doubt. Yes, this is something that's almost done, and I plan on publishing. It doesn't even necessarily have to have like an exact date, but if you just say, yes, this is something that I am publishing this year or publishing in the second quarter, what have you, like, in other words, it's something that you are actively working on. Things that are paused, that's just shit that's in your ideas pile. That's your slush pile as far as that goes. Look, I got this notebook here. I got this 3-ring binder that has folders and notebooks and lined paper all stacked up in it. That stuff, that's my, a lot of the stuff that's in there it's upcoming stuff, but it's also brainstorming type stuff. It's slush pile type stuff. It's stuff that's maybe, what if, possibly, that's not stuff that I talk about, because I feel like, who's really going to care about that at the end of the day? Because the worst case scenario is somebody does care, because then now you're in a position where, okay, what if people do care? That's what you don't want to happen, right? Because especially if you're being lazy about it, if you're just being lazy and procrastinating about it, and then all of a sudden, now people care, you're telling people, you're sharing an idea, and now all of a sudden, you're going to have yourself in a position like the R.R. Martin effect. We'll dub it the R.R. Martin effect, the George R.R. Martin effect. Oh, you have an idea. Now people are excited about it. Well, now you've put yourself in a position where now you got to put up or shut up. Put up or shut up at that point. Because now it's like people want to see it. People want to see it come to fruition. And you're like, well, what if I can't deliver? What if I can't deliver? What if I drop the ball? You're not necessarily gonna have egg on your face, but why even put that kind of pressure on yourself? That's the point where I'm at. I understand the excitement. Yes, sometimes people get very excited. They get these little, you get these ideas that pop up in your head, and you're like, oh wow, that's an awesome idea, and you get excited about it, and you're like, yeah, this is awesome. I want to talk about this idea. I just want to talk about this idea. And maybe there's a time and a place for that. Maybe that's where your friends come into play. You got some friends that you can talk to. You can talk to your friends about that stuff, and it's safely done behind the scenes, and you're not doing it out in public where people are listening to you talk, and they're like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Let's see if they deliver. You know what I mean? Not to say necessarily everyone's going to be thinking like that, but that's kind of the position that you're putting yourself in. If people care what you're talking about, that is. So if people care what you're talking about, if people care about what you're working on, then it's best to kind of, I know it can be difficult. Again, these ideas can be exciting, but to kind of keep your lip buttoned up until you know without a shred of doubt, or you've already put in the foundation. You've already laid the foundation. In other words, you're planning a novel. You say, okay, guys, I got this fantasy novel I'm working on, or a sci-fi, whatever. And instead of saying you haven't even written the first paragraph of the novel, you're just like, oh, guys, I got this idea for a sci-fi novel. This is what it's going to be about. And then it's going to be out, I plan on maybe having it done this year, whatever. Doesn't even matter. Just talking about it, period, in general, will spark curiosity in some people. So if you're one of those people, like you're out here and you're openly talking about your ideas, laying them out on the table, there are people, you may not always know it, but because you never know who may be watching. Whatever you put on the internet, out on the internet, there may be people watching. And there may be people who are interested in what it is that you're working on. But if you are out here and you're one of these people that are like, you're talking about your projects and you're getting people excited about your ideas, but then you turn around and you're not delivering on any of these ideas, well, at the end of the day, what is it? What are they then? They're just ideas, man. Everyone's got ideas. Everyone has ideas, Ideas, if it was all about the ideas, then everyone would have a book. But it takes more than just a good idea to write a book. There's a lot more that goes into it. It's not just about, oh, I got a great idea for a book. Hey, that's awesome. You got a great idea for a book. That's a good start. Now you actually have to put pen to paper. You have to actually put words down on the page. You actually have to go through a creative process. Make it happen. There's a difference between doing this and making it happen. Of course, this isn't me lecturing you, DA, in particular, but just generally speaking. All right, let's get to the next segment here. I got some featured media. Hey, you do what you want to do. If I made sense, you can let me know. If you don't think it makes sense, go ahead. You're just going to continue to do whatever you do. I can only speak from my point of view as far as that goes. Let's get into some featured media. All right, from Twitter, we have from Dusty Roberts. Dusty Roberts. I do remember sharing a novel from Dusty Roberts on the live stream before. This time coming with some YouTube. Got a little something from YouTube. So sci-fi writer Dusty Roberts, apparently a collector of old typewriters. Is this is where I was like, oh, we potentially have a cursed object here with this old typewriter. So Dusty shares typewriter 1. So this comes courtesy of Dusty Roberts on YouTube. See what's so special about this typewriter here. So this is just a short one. It's a little 30-second video here.
This is a Corona 1913.
Corona, cursed object.
This is a Corona 1913 to 1917, and this was the type. I mean, this was the model. This isn't the one that Hemingway used, but this is the model that Hemingway took with him when he traveled. Why? Well, look at the size of it. I've got small hands. So, and now this is why he took it with him, because it was one of the first portables. And this is how it folded. Kind of neat. And that's how you put it in the case. Anyway, so I thought you'd enjoy seeing that.
It's what Hemingway worked on. It's pretty interesting. Thought that was pretty interesting. How many of you out there would be able to use a typewriter in this day and age? That sounds like hell to me, if I'm to be honest. Using a typewriter in this day and age, that sounds like hell. The ink, you're using the ink, you got the paper, the paper on there. There's no, maybe you got to use a dictionary. You got to stay on the up and up with each and every, you got to be very careful with each and every single keystroke, or else you're going to go through a whole process of covering up any type of mistake on the page. I can't imagine. I can't imagine going back to something like that. Even handwritten, at least with handwritten though, like with pencil and paper, you can erase and stuff like that. But still, I remember, oh my gosh, my forearm right here. I remember in elementary school, it used to be like exercise, just handwriting things. Why? Because you got to do the rough draft. Then you got to go through a proofreading. Then you got to do revisions. Then you got to go through another round of editing. And then you got your final draft. So it's like you're writing by hand, multiple pages by hand. So you're building up your strength in your forearms. So you got the veins. Here I am, in elementary school, and I got veins bulging out of my forearms. Looking like Popeye over here, writing fiction or essays. Well, I don't think it was essays in elementary school, but maybe little stories or whatever. Middle school, and definitely in high school. Holy crap! Between writing notes for each class. But yeah, it's definitely it can be a bit of a workout. I have to say, a little bit of a workout to run that pencil or that pen for several pages at a time. And then that's just first draft. And then you got to write it all over again after the proofreading or revisions. Write the same thing, write the whole thing all over again with the revisions. Thank goodness for computers. Thank goodness for computers. Save all that time. But what do you guys think about typewriters? Would you use a typewriter in this day and age? I definitely would not. And also that typewriter, that antique that Dusty was showing us, that thing looked flimsy too. The model, it definitely looks like it's fragile. I'll say that much. But that's the featured media. If you guys have something that you would like to share with me and have me check out on the show, it could be you could do a poetry reading, whatever it may be. It could be a short story that you read. It could be a little update on your writing. It could be a book that you review. You can check it out. I mean, you can share it with me and I'll check it out. I might share my first impressions, a little commentary, whatever it may be. That's what it looked like. It definitely did look fragile to me, especially when he was like tilting it over like that and folding it. I actually did use a typewriter when I was a child. I do remember using a typewriter, not for anything in particular. I think my mom had a typewriter, and I do remember using a typewriter at some point in time. But then shortly after typewriters, there was word processing machines. I remember when word processing machines came out, I was interested in that. I was like really interested in like when computers were first like coming out and stuff like that. Like I'm talking like Commodore 64 days. I had a Commodore 64 growing up, and those things were the bomb. I thought those things were the bomb back in the day, I have to say. I was definitely into that. When I could start, like when you could start using like word processing applications, like that was huge. And we would do that, and we actually used to type out stories and stuff like that. I remember it was the fifth grade, and one of my fifth grade teachers had like a dozen of these friggin' Commodore 64s. If you could imagine, she had like probably close to like a dozen of these Commodore 64s hooked up in her classroom. I could just imagine the electric bill just out of that one class. But anyways, and we do the word processing on there. And I remember that was one of the first classrooms where we actually did like word processing and stuff like that, and learning how to like use word processing, spell check, things like that. I think it was the Macintosh too. There was spell check on the Macintosh, and that was like revolutionary. It was like, oh, we don't have to use a dictionary? Holy shit. All right. All right, time for some hot topic for content creators. Yes, hot topic for content creators. This is where I pitch a hot topic to you guys, and you guys turn around if you feel so inclined, and you create your own content on said topic. And if you tag me in your video or share the link with me, then I may feature your video during a future live stream. Or else you're always welcome to revisit any of my previously pitched hot topics and leave some comments on those and kind of weigh in on the conversation as we kind of embroider these topics together. Okay. So tonight, I'm going to be, let's see, what do I have for tonight? All right. I was going to do this last week, but last week I had a comment, and comments will take precedent. All right. So I want to get into it this week. This is representation in fiction. I have an article to read. So this article actually has to do with an indie film. You guys, told you I'm interested in getting involved in the indie film, covering some indie film type news. And here's a little something. Has to do with this movie right here, entitled Suitable Flesh. Suitable Flesh. That's right. Pull up the article. So just a little note, I'm not going to read the whole article, but just as it kind of pertains to this hot topic. So this comes from Collider, website Collider. Says, epic new Suitable Flesh poster echoes the glory of 80s horror movies. I do definitely kind of get that vibe from it. So here's the deal with this movie. So this film adapts a spine-chilling story by H.P. Lovecraft. All right. So this is a movie adaptation of an H.P. Lovecraft story. It's been done plenty of times. A lot of H.P. Lovecraft's work gets adapted to film. So that's not what what I want to bring attention to, but what the article kind of mentions here. So Collider can exclusively unveil the official poster for Suitable Flesh, an upcoming horror film inspired by H.P. Lovecraft's The Thing on the Doorstep short story. From the color palette to letter font, the poster pays homage to classic 80s horror films, promising one heck of a good time for Lovecraft fans. So here's the rub. Lovecraft's original story follows a young student fascinated with the dark secrets of the world who ends up marrying a mysterious woman who shares his interest in the bizarre. It's a good story, by the way. I recommend it. You guys check it out. I think you can listen to it. You can listen to it for free on YouTube. All right, but unfortunately, what could be a love story become a nightmare once the man realizes his wife is trying to take over his body. What's worse, his wife might have been possessed by her father's spirit. That's a weird little twist there, huh? His wife might have been possessed by her father's spirit, and he was probably building a relationship with the old wizard the whole time. So, in other words, the main character of the story. So it was a bit of a weird kind of twist. It definitely plays upon themes of like masculine, feminine, that type of stuff. You can kind of see where the article is going here. So The Thing on the Doorstep is one of the few Lovecraft stories with a strong female character, which becomes somewhat disturbing when we consider the genre swap twist. I think they meant gender swap there. I think that might have been a typo, which becomes, because it makes more sense if they're saying gender swap, which becomes somewhat disturbing. They say genre swap in the article, but I think they meant gender swap, which becomes somewhat disturbing when we consider the gender swap twist, through which we learn that its villain is a man. Fortunately, Suitable Flesh intends to address the issue by marking an adaptation that's attuned to modern sensibilities. Uh-oh. Modern sensibilities. Here we go. You know, it's like, why? I guess that's every time when something like this comes up, that's always, isn't that like always the first thing that we have to ask ourselves? Why are you even taking on this project then? You know what I mean? It's one thing, you're already going to annoy people because you're already insinuating that you are not going to stay true to the source material, which is very annoying if we're talking about a fandom here. If we're talking about fans, you're talking about, oh, this could be very exciting for Lovecraft fans. Well, if it's exciting for Lovecraft fans, it's exciting for them for a reason, because of the way his work is written in the first place. So then when you start coming in with this nonsense, oh, don't worry, guys. Don't worry. We're going to take it upon ourselves to address these issues. Issues for who? For you? Not an issue for me. You don't speak for me. That's for damn sure. Ain't a problem for me. So speak for yourself as far as that goes. That's the one thing that I hate, is when, sometimes there are people out here, they're like, we got to update these things. They got to be updated. It's dated. This stuff is dated. It needs an update. It's not fucking Windows. All right. We don't need a goddamn update. If you are creating an adaptation, yes, you can have your own vision of that adaptation. But at this point, now when you start using this type of language where you're saying, oh, we're going to address issues, we're going to, by making it's not I would argue at that point, it's not an adaptation. You're not talking about an adaptation at that point. There's a word for that. It's called a reimagining, okay? Which is effectively just a glorified way of saying fan fiction. Just say it's fan fiction. It's not an adaptation. It's fucking fan fiction is what it is at that point. You got some twisted idea in your own brain, and it's your idea that's twisted, not Lovecraft's. Go figure, as far as that goes. Because you know damn well what I'm talking about. It's your idea that's twisted, not Lovecraft's. Lovecraft's is the source material. Lovecraft is the source material. He's the OG, the creator. Okay? He is the one that you are allegedly paying homage to through your work, through your vision. Oh, but you see, we got some things we need to address here first. We got to address some things first with this Lovecraft character. Some of his ideas are a little bit dated. We got to update them for modern sensibilities. Who says? Not me. You're not talking about my sensibilities. That's for damn sure. Is there some weaklings out there? Are there some sissies out there that might be like, Lovecraft, problematic. Some sissies, limp-wristed? Yeah, there probably is. And those are the people that are like, well, let's take this. Why don't you just create your own shit then? Leave Lovecraft alone. Let the man rest in peace. Why you got to fuck with him at that point? That's what I'm saying. You want to talk about passion? You want to talk about getting into it? I'm not even the biggest friggin' Lovecraft fan. I'm just saying, in terms of respect, it's fucking disrespectful. It's a slap in the mouth. It's effectively a slap in the mouth. when you talk like this. It's like they don't get it. And when I say they, you know damn well I'm talking about. You know damn well who I'm talking about. You know, the type of people out there that want to cash in off of, you know, these people who maybe their work is in the public domain. You know, they want to cash in off the hard work and the namesake itself, because the namesake has value, and they can recognize that portion of it, can recognize that the fact that the namesake has value. You understand that. You don't have that any problem with that. But then you turn around and you come out here with your moral high ground, and you want to start doing this whole social activism thing where you're like, well, we got to make some adjustments. You know, there was a time in you know, the more middle of the road type folks might be like, well, listen, there was a time and a place for some of the Lovecraft type of views. You know, I sympathize to a certain degree that, you know, he's a man of a certain era. All right. But even still, if you're not going to stay true to the source material, then, hey, maybe that's a sign that that project ain't for you. If you don't have the balls to stay true to the source material because you're afraid of maybe backlash, you're afraid that people might think that you're problematic or that you're endorsing some of Lovecraft's, you know, whatever whether it be his ideologies or whatever you think his beliefs were, you know, you are afraid of being lumped in with whatever people like to label Lovecraft, you know, whether it be an ist or an ism type of word, then maybe that's a sign that that's not a project for you. You're biting off more than you can chew. All right, leave it alone. Let the man rest in peace. Leave his legacy alone. You know, you guys want to, hey, you guys weigh in on this. I'm just speaking. I'm not even defending Lovecraft. I am defending Lovecraft in this instance, but I'm just saying, speaking this in general for any artist out there, I think it's scummy, literally straight scum type of move to say, oh, now their work is in public domain, you know, like for instance, like Conan or something like that. Conan, I think Conan's in public domain now. Oh, you're just going to start doing Conan works, except Conan is a friggin', you know, he's a twinkle toes now, you know, he's not a barbarian that wears, you know, he's not a barbarian that crushes skulls, drinks the blood of his enemies, and you know, and runs around in a woolly mammoth loincloth. No, he's a fairy twinkle toes running around in a pink tutu. You know, wouldn't that be funny? No, it would not. It'd be dumb. It'd be stupid. It'd be a waste of an entire production. You know, in other words, waste of effort. Why even put in that kind of effort? What was the other one? What was the other one that came out recently? Fucking Winnie the Pooh. The Winnie the Pooh and the honey murder or whatever the fuck that movie was. It's fucking dumb. That's retarded shit. That's like the liberal libtard type shit. That's what I think is like the libtard type shit. When people think libtard shit, they think that kind of stuff. You know, that's like the Spencer's Gifts of movies. You know what I mean? Wouldn't it be funny if Winnie the Pooh was a fucking psychopath killer? That's hilarious, man. You know, that's the type of shit you'd see like in gag shops. You know what I mean? Like there would be a book, like, you know, and you can tell that it's satire. It's meant for adults, but it's a children's book. It's just like this weird thing with liberals sometimes that they want to take something that's meant for children and turn it into this perverted, like, adult type thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, maybe it's something that they grew up with when their childhood, and you know, okay, it could, sure, maybe it could be funny in that sense. I'm not saying I don't have a sense of humor as far as that goes, but at the end of the day, it's kind of fucking weird at the same time. Like, why you got to do that? You know what I mean? Why you got to do that? Why you got to do Winnie the Pooh like that? Why'd you leave Pooh alone? You know, what do you ever do to you? You know, the same thing with Lovecraft, with this movie. Why you gotta fuck with Lovecraft? Don't worry about my sensibilities, pal. Okay? Let me put it to you down like that. Don't worry about my sensibilities, pal. Don't worry about my feelings. My feelings, none of your business. How about that? All right? Don't worry about offending my sensibilities. Please. That's all I ask. Okay? Just make your art, make your work. You want to do an adaptation? Do an adaptation. This, if you're addressing the issues, making and make it more attuned for modern sensibilities. Well, for one, you're right out the gate, you're assuming that you have a finger on the pulse of what those modern sensibilities are. And if you're going off of mainstream standard, then I would say you're way off the fucking mark as far as that goes. So just do the work the way you want to envision it. And if you're going to go and if you don't plan on staying true to the source material, then leave the fucking thing alone. Let the man rest in peace. Says that's why Suitable Flesh reimagines. Well, now they want to say reimagines. That's why Suitable Flesh reimagines the Thing on the Doorstep story, keeping the body swap terrors while removing Lovecraft's controversial approach to female characters. He's sexist. Oh, the whammons. Seriously? Controversial approach. Guys, I listened. It was like, well, not that long ago. I listened to this story again. I implore you guys, here's your homework assignment. Okay, I'm not fucking around on this one. Here's your homework assignment. Look up this Lovecraft story, okay? The Thing on the Doorstep. Look it up. H.P. Lovecraft's The Thing on the Doorstep. It's just a short story. I think it's like, I think it's only like 4 hours, something like that for the whole thing. Or less. I don't remember. It's not that long. It's not that long. You could listen to the whole thing in one sitting. You tell me, and you could come back if you want, if you feel so inclined, and you can leave me a comment and tell me what you thought was so fucking controversial about his approach to female characters in that story. Okay? You tell me. I don't know. Hey, but I'm a little bit more, I'm a little bit more edgy as far as that goes, when it comes to that type of stuff. So, you guys might think that I'm maybe I'm a little bit problematic in that area. But hey, I never hurt anyone. You let me know. Let's see. Suitable Flesh. Let's just finish up the article here. It says Suitable Flesh will have its world premiere at the 2023's Tribeca Film Festival on June 11th. There's still no release date for Suitable Flesh, but since RLJE Films just snatched distribution rights, we'll probably get a theatrical release later this year. And after that, the movie will also stream on Shudder. So there you go. If you guys are interested in checking out that film once it comes out and see how much they fucked up, how badly they fucked up as far as that goes. Sorry, I'm heated. I'm a little bit heated. I'm hot around the collar. I'll admit, I'm a little bit hot around the collar. That shit pisses me off. It really does, because it's like, just come up with your own shit. Come up with your own idea. You don't need, I hate it too, because it's like, And they're the same type of people that would say, oh, these white men are problematic. These white men are supremacists. Okay, then why are you trying to cash in off their legacy then? If they're so problematic, apparently they must have been doing something right. Why don't you leave them alone? Why don't you come up with your own ideas, huh? If you're so friggin' smart. You know, why you got to come after Whitey? You know, come up with your own ideas. You know, you don't get to say Whitey's problematic, but then turn around and try to cash in off his hard labor. No. Cut that off at the knees. No. It's one or the other. You can't pay homage out of one side of your mouth, and then the other side of your mouth, you're talking shit. Because that's exactly what you're doing. And I ain't going to stand for it. Let me check in with the comments before I have a thrombo. D.A. Bell. Hi. How you doing? Hey, I just read one of your blog entries, by the way. A man of his time. He's a man of his time. Oh, it's not in the public domain. I don't know why I thought it was. I thought it was. I thought I heard something like that. I could be wrong. It's not something that I go looking for anyways. What about Brenda's beaver? There you go. There's one. Sharknado 9, but with electric eels instead. Yeah, you got to update it. You know, the sharks are a protected species. You know, that's problematic. Don't be endangering the sharks. That is insensitive. I have to say, that is quite insensitive. Don't be, harming the sharks. I'm done with it. I'm tired of that. What did Jaws ever do to you? Okay. Relax. I think sharks are just misunderstood for the most part. But that might be a little bit of a hot take. Rainer, welcome. Welcome to the show. I saw that you had your YA is published. Congratulations. That was the YA you were talking about. That doesn't sound like a bad YA. I have to say, if I was to give a YA, if I was to go out of my way to give a YA a time of day, that sounds like it'd be up my alley. Not gonna lie. It sounds interesting. It sounds interesting. I'll give you that much. Is it a romance? Is there a love triangle involved, or a love square? What shape is the love in that one? Usually there's some sort of shape. Usually a YA is going to have some sort of love shape. Usually it's a love triangle. It's not very often you get to see a love square. I'm thinking a love octagon. Let's get wild. Why not a love pentagram? One of these days, check it out. It's on YouTube. I know it's free on YouTube. You can listen to it if you want to put it on sometime. You just hear it. If you want to join in on this conversation, that's my homework assignment. Listen to that. Put that story on. You tell me. Just hear it out, and keep in the back of your mind that there's some sort of controversial approach to female characters that Lovecraft is taking. I missed it. I must have missed it. Honestly, I must have missed it. I don't remember consciously remember there being, I remember there was like, maybe there was a comment. There was like maybe one slight offhanded comment in there somewhere where effectively he may or may not have been more or less saying, a woman had a bird brain. Women have bird brains. But hey, birds of a feather flock together as far as that goes. I'm not saying I'm not putting you all in the same flock. Not all. If Conan was in the public domain, would you do some Conan fanfic? Are you saying would you write some Conan fanfic? Please don't make them Twinkle Toes. For the love, it's going to be a thing now. There's some libtard out there that's listening. That'd be hilarious. We're gonna emasculate Conan. Wouldn't that be awesome? It's their hero, you guys. Let's emasculate their hero. Let's make him a flamer. Yeah. And he'll have a flaming sword too. That'd be cool. Fucking idiots. Fucking pisses me off. Hate this shit. Does anyone have original ideas anymore? Does anyone? I know you're NPCs, but good Lord, exercise your damn imagination once in a while. Flex it. You got to work out. It's like a muscle. You gotta think. Don't just go dipping into history just willy-nilly just because you can legally and start fucking with shit. That ain't canon, because then people could look back. People, if from the future might look back and be like, okay, well, what of this shit is canon? What is canon? What's not canon? As far as that goes. Oh, this is a spoof. Why is Winnie the Pooh killing people? Christopher Robin, no! Piglet and Tigger too? They got you? Brenda's Beaver. If you have it, you're recommending Brenda's Beaver? 10 out of 10? Sounds intriguing, I have to say. Brenda's Big Brown Beaver. Actually, that's Primus, isn't it? It's a fair question. That's a fair question, Rainer. Perhaps you have an answer. Is that something you'd be interested in? We'll talk about that YA. You want to come on the show and talk about that YA? We could do that. Technically, you think. Did you put it in that category? Yeah, no pressure. I'll still cover your books. It's a bit of romance, but no, he says. Okay. Yeah, you were a good sport, Rachel, I have to say. You were definitely a good sport. And I enjoyed that. I like how you were describing how coming up with the voices when you were coaching. It's hilarious. Naturally, right? Half lycanthrope, werewolf. So it's going to be bark at the moon. Yeah, but that's my job, though. You don't necessarily. It comes down to the host too. That's what I'm realizing. A lot of these shows that have like, these author interviews and stuff like that. It comes down to the host too. It's not, and that's why I try to just make it a spot. It's just a spot. You get a spot on the show. It's not the whole show. The whole, I'm not going to do a whole show that revolves around just you, but I'm going to definitely give you the time of day and we can have a nice conversation, a nice natural kind of conversation. And that's my job, is to kind of keep things on track. That's my job, to kind of try to make things interesting. I don't think that any pressure, I try to do my best not to put any pressure on the guest. It's not your job to perform, come on here and you got to put on a performance of any way. You just show up and you're just you, and you just want to talk about your work. But I'm the host. I'm the one who needs to keep things on track. I'm the one who needs to, bring the personality, if you will, or try to make, not, be over the top, but just, keep the audience in mind, I should say. It's not just that we're having a conversation, but I try to keep my audience in mind too, because I know what it's like to be in the peanut gallery and be watching a stream, and it's just a fucking author interview stream, and and the guest might not be the most have the guest may be a very talented author, but when it comes to personality, they have about as much personality as a pet rock, as far as that goes. And then the host is also kind of just asking lame questions and all the generic type of shit, and it's not really that interesting. I don't want it to be that. Oh no. Make ointments and creams for that. Don't ask me how I know. Sir. No. Do we have to remember that? We don't have to. The Pringles cans. Once you pop, you just can't stop. Sir. What's your favorite Pringles flavor? Drop me in the comments. You know that Pringles are just friggin' corn? Pringles chips aren't even fucking chips. It's fucking cornmeal or whatever the hell it is. It's fucking powder. It's corn powder. It's not even potato chips. It's not even fucking potatoes. It's like some kind of dust. It's trash. It's fucking GMO shit. Probably got you eating some friggin' nanobots. Probably eating nanobots. Got the NWO flowing through your veins. It's a secret conspiracy. I need to keep things on track. Then you show up and ramble. It was fun though. So you're having a natural conversation. I want to think that I'm getting better at it, but it's more, I don't really have, once in a while, I might have some, if it's specific to the individual, I might try to come up with an interesting question or two that I might be able to toss out at you, just to kind of, you know, if I feel like I'm starting to, if it's like I'm starting to kind of pull teeth. But you did not make me feel that way at all. Like, I feel like when you were on, our conversation was pretty natural. It was pretty natural. I don't really feel like, you know, either one of us were kind of really stumbling or struggling there at any point. I just feel like it was basically just, I felt like I was just having a chat, like we were just talking. And I like that. I like those kind of conversations. I call them more of a conversation than an interview. You know, it's more, that's really what it is. It's just like, are you excited about your project? Great. Let me hear about it. You know, let's talk about it. Maybe I got some questions for you. Will just pop up naturally, you know, most of the time. Rambling guest. Hey, I've yet to have that, really. You may say that, Rachel, but I really don't think you were rambling. I don't think that you were rambling. However, if I did have a rambling guest, depends what they're rambling about. I might let them go. I'd be like, shit, this is gold. This guy's flying way off the handle. He's way off the rails. I might just see how far he's willing to go as far as that. Flames. I hate Pringles. Yeah. I used to eat Pringles, but not anymore. Nothing in particular. I just realized that I'm not even eating Pringles. Aren't even potato chips. They're just not. I just went through this whole phase where I was just like this, or like this epiphany stage, I guess. I don't know. Maybe that's as you approach middle age, maybe that's like one of those middle age type things where you're just like, I'm not even eating food. It's barely food. It's edible, yes, but is it food though? At the end of the day, is it really food? Because what's the nutritional value of it? You know, I like real food. You know, I had this like appreciation. I used to eat a lot of fast food when I was younger. I don't anymore. I haven't touched McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's. I think I could count the amount of times on one hand that I've ever had Taco Bell, but I don't eat any of that stuff. None of it. I haven't touched it in years. I do pot roasts. I cook my own food. I use fresh ingredients when I can. It's fucking expensive, but I try to do real food and meat. No smeat, no tofu, no bug meal or whatever the fuck. I'm not eating the damn bugs. I'm not eating the bugs. I'll say that right now. You will eat the bugs, bugs. I'm not eating the damn bugs. All right. If there's a meat market, if there's meat on the market, give me the meat. Holy shit, look at all that meat. That's me. Give me the meat. No homo. The Pringles are turning the frogs gay. It's the damn Pringles. It's not the water. What are they putting in the Pringles tonight at 11? I'm having fun with you guys. I think we're off topic here, you guys. Come on, hot topic. How did we get here? I'm glad you guys are having fun. That's it. That's the hot topic. That's the hot topic for this week. So you guys can fill me in. Let me know. Are you a fan of H.P. Lovecraft? What do you think about this? Are you going to check out this film just to see what's going on? I was going to say something about the whole Tribeca thing, but maybe I'll save festivals and conventions for another time. And perhaps it would be more fitting for another hot topic. So now it's time to wrap things up. We're going to check out some comments left during the week. But before I do, let me slap on some theme music. for you guys. Let's chill out a little bit, put on some theme music. What I do? I did that one last week. How about we slow things down? Slow things down. I was getting a little hot under the collar there. How about we slow things down? We get a little slow, synthy, and sensual. Oh yeah, I dig it. Slow it down. Slow it down. Let's cool off. I know sometimes things can get a little hot and heavy. That's why I save hot topic for the end of the stream, because I don't know. I was doing it earlier in the shows and I realized that I'd start to sweat, physically sweat sometimes when I get going on a rant. So, you know, when you're working up a sweat, you know, it's not very comfortable when you got to sit for another hour or so, hour plus after the fact, drenched in your own sweat. You know, I want to be able to take a nice cold shower, maybe, you know, work up a sweat like that. You know what I'm talking about. All right, let's see what I got for comments. Let's see what I got for comments. Shall we? I have a few people stop by the channel this week, making me feel special over here. You guys better watch out. My head, you might make, you know. Don't want to overinflate my ego now. You guys are spoiling me with all these comments. But I did have a few folks, thoughtful folks, stop by the, in all seriousness, I did have a few folks stop by the channel this past week, you know, just say a few words. I appreciate that. I appreciate anyone, you know, who, in all seriousness, they take the time out of your day, you want to stop in, say hi, you know, just say hi. You don't even have to like share any personal information or anything like that. I'm not asking for that. But, you know, you want to say hi, you want to drop a comment. It doesn't have to be too crazy. Let me know how you doing. Let's check this out. All right, so those of you who don't know, last week I did a tag video. I was tagged Nicole's Bookish Nook. I know a lot of you are familiar with Nicole. She's quite a prolific author. She has quite a bit published and under several pen names. I am working on a little something behind the scenes. I don't want to say anything right now, but I am working on something a little behind the scenes and see if I can kind of get in contact with Nicole here. But anyways, Nicole says, time to read Dead Inside then, Jonathan. Dead Inside, yeah. She is three times she's put me in a tag video. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, 3 times without fail, she brought up that book. Now, if you guys, you don't know, if you know, you know. Dead Inside. Maybe, I don't know. I think I've heard, if I'm to be honest, I think I've heard enough. I think I've heard all I need to hear about that book. But maybe I'll get around to reading it at some point. I got so much on my TBR anyways lined up that I want to read, you know, let alone stuff just reading it just for the lulls. You know, I'm already a mood reader as it is. I'd rather spend my time reading the stuff that I actually am interested in giving a chance, you know, rather than, you know, just the lulls, doing it for the lulls. If I was someone who was pumping out, if I was someone who was reading like 5-10 books a month, then yeah, you know, I'd probably just read it in like, you know, and if I was like someone I could just pick it up and read the whole thing in like one afternoon, but I'm not that person. I only read one book at a time. I don't read multiple books. Anytime I try to do something like that, it's just, I don't know. I gotta get better at what I think I should do is I should get better at like taking notes while I read the book. I do that with my Kindle. Like on the Kindle, you can take some notes, like you can highlight. I really like that feature, I have to say. I will admit, I was a little bit of a Luddite at the beginning, where I was like, nothing but physical media. But the reason why I picked up the Kindle is because I knew I wanted to really get serious with these indie books. And am I going to, and do I want to make more space in my home for all the indie books that I want to read? You know, that could end up taking up a lot of space, I have to say. With just the amount of indie books that I have right now, I know that I would probably have to buy a whole new bookshelf. Literally, if I was to own a physical copy, that is, of all the indie books that I have on my TBR right now. You know, so the Kindle definitely comes in handy in that aspect. But yeah, one book at a time. One book at a time for me, and maybe I need to learn how to start taking some, take more notes, or at least, because for me, when I write my editorials, so maybe I got to start working on my editorials ahead of time. And who's this character? We got a little Rainer Chen stopped by the channel. He says, I was too busy and missed this. Well, Rainer Chen, you are here today, so, we'll let it slide this time. Rachel Morley shares her 2 cents on Indie Author Folly this past week. Indie Author Folly, I was wrapping up my coverage, my reaction to Ian Kirkpatrick's video that she uploaded on her channel about her 7 marketing tactics, indie marketing, or just marketing tactics. She had a video. It was like 7 gross marketing tactics, or tactics that she thinks are gross. And kind of fell under the Indie Author Folly. And I was wrapping that up this week. And Rachel says, based opinion here, using identity to garner sympathy sales or attack others is cheap. Kind of using your personal identity, something you're born with, as a shield. Yeah. We'll bring that up again. I'll bring that up in a more structured kind of hot topic, and maybe we can revisit that. That's a good one. I'll have to make a note of that one. I think I have something like that on there. Yeah, I got something coming up. Maybe I'll make a little note of that. All right. And last but not least, we have Thomas Beleza of The Right Mindset. You guys familiar with Thomas, huh? I was on Thomas's podcast 2 times. My second appearance on his podcast, because he's got his 2nd season is underway right now for The Right Mindset, where he does discussions. He does like conversation type interviews as well. Fun guy, good personality. And I came across his channel quite some time ago. And he focuses a lot on craft on his channel. So he's worth checking out for sure. And he says, hey, it's Nicole's Bookish Nook. He brings that up. Nicole was featured in his 2nd season as well. I think that's why he gave it that shout out. It's Nicole's Bookish Nook. Nicole is amazing. I'm glad you two are pushing one another. You're both really wonderful people. Well, that's nice of you to say, Thomas. I appreciate you, brother. All right, guys. That's about it for me this week. What What are you guys talking about? When did I post that blog post on Discord? It was a while back. Had to have been in March because it was dated in March. So I told you, I told you guys, I just add stuff to the queue. So I don't know. It was at some point, or maybe it could have been from a direct message as well. So whether it was a direct message or you posted it in the actual, like, one of the channels, but wherever it is, I just put a little note in my tabs that's where it came from. So I know, like, if I have a video that I need to pull up, you know, whether it be from Twitter or something like that, or if it's just from Discord, I don't take screenshots of the Discord. So I just say it came from Discord. No. Oh no. Well, I hope you guys, I hope y'all had some fun. I hope y'all discovered something new. But like I always say, don't fret, because guess what? I will be back here for you next week, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You know, that's 6 p.m. Pacific. Have a good one. Oh, hell yeah! That's my guy! Yeehaw! We gotta support us, buy his product. Buy.
This offended my sensibilities.